Hare Krishna. We welcome all our viewers. We welcome all our viewers to the festival special Smaran Utsav, which is meant to help us meditate on the glorious pastime of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. During this festival time, when we are unable to visit the temple, today we are starting our Smaran festival on the auspicious day of Jhulan Yatra with the special pastime of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna by a special Brajvasi devotee, His Grace Deena Bandhu Prabhu. So, Deena Bandhu Prabhu is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who is serving ISKCON since 1969. He is an excellent narrator of Sri Sri Radha Krishna's pastime and ancient devotees from across the world with stories about Lord and his Vrindavan pastime. Dinabandhu Prabhu, he has done wonderful service to ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. He opened the first temple in Dallas, Texas. He was the president of Portland Temple from 1972 to 78. In 1980, he moved to Colombia and he preached in Spanish. In 1984, he moved to Vrindavan, the land of Krishna. 1986, he was appointed the president of ISKCON Vrindavan for 3 years. Later on, in 1988, Baba Madhav Das approached him to take over the restoration project of Vrindakund. He is very famous to take devotees for yatra in Vrindavan, different places, different pastime of narrate the pastime of Radha and Krishna. So Dinabandhu Prabhu is known also with the devotees that Dinabandhu Baba, he is one of our leading devotees who started the Kumbh Mela in big way in ISKCON India, different like Ujjain, Nasik, Haridwar, and Allahabad. So he is our leader of the Kumbh Mela. So I am extremely thankful to him for accepting our invitation and choosing to be come live for ISKCON, Juhu Smaran. So we are honored to welcome him in this first part of this Smaran festival hosted by ISKCON Juhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So hope you're all having a wonderful Ekadasi today. This is a very special Ekadasi. This is the beginning of Jhulan Yatra. And so we'll have wonderful katha today, all about different Jhulan Yatras around Braj. So before we begin, we'll chant a very beautiful song that Srila Prabhupada always used to chant whenever he gave his lecture. Very beautiful bhajan that gives a whole picture of Vrindavan. And you all know this bhajan, you can sing along with us. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banatyari Yamuna Tira Banatyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ki. So again, we welcome to this evening's program on the second Ekadasi of Shravan, first month of the rainy season, and the beginning of Jhulan Yatra. And we sincerely hope that all of you are staying safe and increasing your Krishna consciousness in this very difficult days that we're passing through at this time. So we thank you all very much for joining us this evening. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandigam Adadana Srinandan Dairitam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padam Bujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kipasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So especially around Barsana and the villages around Barsana and Nandagaon, we find many beautiful old ancient Hindols or Jhulans. But the original one is in just near Barsana. If you've ever been on Barsana Prikrama, we come to a place called Dhangar. From Dhangar, we look across a valley to a beautiful hill known as Bilasgar. Bilaskar is actually an incarnation of Krishna. Because Krishna, he can't stand to be far away from Radharani, so he's incarnated as this hill called Bilaskar. So between Barsana and Bilaskar, there's a little valley. That valley runs up to, becomes very narrow at a place called Sankari Kor, the narrow passage. So, but from Dhangar, we look across, we can see a big old ancient Hindol there. And what happened now, it's the month of Shravan. So it's a custom that the young girls, they go visit the house of their father and mother during Shravan. Just like yesterday, the Pujari called from Vrindavan, and he was telling me how at least 2 different daughters-in-law, they've gone home to their mother's house, father's house. So ordinarily, Radharani, we know she stays in Javat with her so-called mother-in-law Jatila and father-in-law no father-in-law, sister Kutila, with her so-called husband Abhimanyu. Mhm. But just before Rath Yatra, since Shravan is about to come, just after Rath Yatra actually, then she comes to Barsana. So Javad is very close by to Nandagam. So now both Radha and Krishna are very sad because they're far away from each other. Hmm. So then on this Ekadasi day, the Sakhis, they took Radharani up to the top of Bilaskar where there was a very beautiful Jhulan. And they began to swing Radharani, hoping the cool breezes from the swinging, because now it's rainy season, the air is very sweet with cool rain-leaden breezes are there, and it's very nice. And they're singing different songs trying to cheer up, but Radharani's feeling a little despondent. Hmm? Meanwhile, suddenly, they look down in that valley we were talking about, there's a little path there, and they saw some unknown Sakhi coming along the path. She had her sari down over her face, no one could recognize. Some dark gopi was coming, and she was coming very gently. And she came before the swing, and Lalita Sakhi said, "My dear sister, why are you standing there? You please come and sit with our Sakhi on the swing. She's feeling very sad." So the Sakhis, they took that other Sakhi by the hand and they sat her down just next to Srimati Radharani on the swing. And they began to swing. By now, you may have guessed who our new Sakhi is, dark Sakhi. Because Krishna has come disguised as a Sakhi in order to get Radharani's association. So now he's sitting on the swing with Radharani. Bing, 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 bing. His heart begins to beat very fast. Uh, uh. So suddenly he faints. He falls onto Radharani. Immediately all the Sakhis come, "Oh, what's happened? What happened?" Like that. And they're pressing here. Now ordinarily this place should be very soft, but they felt something very hard. They reached under the cloth and they pulled out Krishna's flute. So then they unmasked that gopi, sprinkled some water. They unmasked Krishna and sprinkled some water. And then Radha and Krishna, from this Ekadasi day up to the full moon, they were doing beautiful Jhulan Yatra here on top of this hill. So this is where the original Jhulan Yatra takes place, especially in this month of Shravan. Now there's another place where I've seen a very interesting Jhulan. Actually, it's not even it doesn't exist anymore. There was a tree where they used to hang a swing at Radhakund. Unfortunately, there was some property dispute, and they built a wall straight through the tree. They eventually cut down that tree, and now it's no longer in existence, unfortunately. But one time, there was a beautiful Jhulan in that tree. It was an old Imli tree, giant old Imli tree. But it was a special type of Jhulan where the two seats were facing each other like this. So Krishna came there with Radharani and all the Sakhis, and he sat down and he told Radharani to sit on the opposite side. So Radharani said, "No, no, no. Every time you swing too fast and I become frightened." And Krishna said, "No, the Sakhis will swing very gently. You please sit." He said, "No, no, no. I know you'll make it go too fast and I'll become frightened." He said, "No, I'm sitting here. You sit on the other side and the Sakhis will swing us." So then Radharani sat on the other side facing Krishna. And the Sakhis began to very gently swing the swing like this. But then Krishna began to make his feet go straight. He would keep them straight on the way up and pull them back on the way back. And suddenly the swing began to go up and down till finally it was going all the way up and touching the sky and coming back down and going up and touching the sky again. and going like this, Radharani became so frightened. She jumped from her side of the Jhulan to the other seat and just grabbed onto Krishna. And Krishna was so happy, then that swing just went around and round and round and round like this. So that old Imli tree, you could see it before in the old days when we used to go to Radhakund. It was completely twisted around, where this Jhulan twisted and twisted and twisted, completely twisted around. Now, unfortunately, it's no longer there. Somebody made lots of chapatis with it, but this is a very special, and you have to know where that place is, just as toward the end of the Radhakund Prikrama. So there's another special Jhulan, just when you enter Radhakund and about to go down on the platform there, you'll see three stones stuck like this. Somebody has made just to commemorate this pastime. They made three stones like this. You'll not even recognize that it's a Jhula. You have to know. So what happened was one time, Rupa Goswami was staying in Radhakund for some time. And we know Sanatana Goswami was staying at Manasi Ganga, and he used to do regularly Prikrama of Govardhan. So he decided one day to come and see Rupa Goswami. So he came there, and he saw that Rupa was writing a very beautiful book called Chatu Puspanjali. Puspanjali of 4 different flowers, Chatu Puspanjali. In that poem, he was writing all about, he was describing the beauty of Srimati Radharani in so many ways. Our lips are just as beautiful as the bimba fruits. Her teeth are just like jasmine buds, like that. Her beautiful eyebrows are like the bow of Cupid. In so many ways, he was describing the beauty of Srimati Radharani. Then he described that her braid was just like a black cobra. Because we see, if we look at a woman from the back, then the head is like the fun of the cobra, and the choti is coming down just like the tail of the cobra. So he wrote that just like the black snake, Radharani's beautiful choti is there, braid is there. And Sanatana Goswami, he said, wait a minute. How can you write such a thing? Rupa Goswami, that's what came in my mind. If you can think of a better idea, you please tell me. So then Sanatana Goswami began walking by Radhakund and thinking about this. And he was thinking of different things. And suddenly he saw a bunch of young girls on the bank of Radhakund. And they had a little Jhulan there and they were swinging. And as he watched the swing, they began to swing up and down, and they went way up in the air. And it just so happened that the choti of that young gopi suddenly went way up in the sky, and it looked just like a big black cobra was about to bite her. Immediately Sanatana Goswami came running and running and running. Look out, look out. And everyone was just laughing at him. And they got there and everyone was laughing, and he saw that actually it was the braid of Srimati Radharani. And everyone just laughed at him and disappeared. And he looked around, no one was there. Then he ran back to Rupa Goswami and said, whatever you've written, it is perfect, you leave it just like it is. So these are some of the Jhulan pastimes. Just this morning I was remembering there's another Jhulan, another big Hindol, ancient Hindol in Nandagam. And the villagers tell a very interesting story about this Hindol. Because when you're coming from Barsana toward Nandagam, just as you're about to enter the village, on the right side, there's a place called Lalitakut, where Lalita Saki waits with all the Sakis for Krishna to come and then the pastimes to begin with Radharani. So one time, Krishna was sitting there with Radharani and all the Sakhis, and he was describing to Radharani all about the character of Narada Muni. He's a very, very clever fellow. Huh? He goes to one side, he tells one thing. He goes to the other side, he tells another thing, and he makes a big fight between them. Hmm? Just like we know one time, uh, Vasudev is now, we'll tell a little bit, because Jamashtami is coming in a couple of weeks, that Vasudev had his first son, and he had promised to bring it to Kams. He promised to bring all his. The oracle had told, Atavalal Tera Ka. And Kans was ready to kill his own sister Devaki on the spot, but somehow Vasudev managed to convince him that he will bring all the 8 children to Kans to dispose of as he wishes. Because he thought, who knows, maybe there'll be no children, maybe there won't be 8 children. He thought, first let me save Devaki, then we'll figure out how to save the children. But this was all part of the pastime. So Vasudeva was so noble, that's why Kans trusted him. Because he knew Kansa's word is as good as stool, but Vasudev's word is as good as gold. So he brought that child, and Kans said, after all, even Kans was affected by the nobility of Vasudeva, that Vasudeva was keeping his word. You can't imagine bringing your firstborn child knowing this guy can kill him. But he still, to keep his word of honor, he brought that child. Even Kams was affected. It's all right. It's not, this is not the 8th one. It doesn't mean, you take it back. Doesn't matter. Although Vasudeva was relieved, he wasn't completely relieved. He knows Kansa's word is not so good. So Narada Muni was thinking that these 8 children, the 8 Vasus, they have to take birth before Krishna can appear. So he thought, if this goes on like this, maybe they won't have any more children. Now they have a child. And he thought, I have to speed up the pastime. So he went to King Kans, Narada Muni, and he told Kans, have you heard? It's all over the internet. I saw it. Have you heard? What's that? All the demigods are taking birth in the Yadu, Vrishni, and Andhaka dynasties. Have you heard? And you know these demigods, they're very tricky fellows. You cannot trust them. The Devavani that came in the sky told that it was the 8th child, but we don't know how these demigods count. They're very tricky fellows. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But maybe they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then the first one could also be the 8th. Or depending on where they start, anyone could be the 8th. These guys are tricky. You can't, careful. Narvodi's a very tricky fellow like this. So then Kans, by the association of Vasudeva, he became a little pious, but then he consulted with all his ministers who were all demons. He became demoniac. He threw Vasudeva and Devaki in jail. He killed that child and all the children after that. So like that, Krishna was trying to get Radharani to understand the character of this Narada Muni. And he said, let me tell you one thing. You should never fall into the chakra of this fellow. Don't ever listen to him. Otherwise, he will start a fight between us and there'll be no way our relation will be finished. And Radharani said, Are, Prananath, what could possibly come between us? And Krishna said, all right, I'm not going to tell you that I told you so. So another time they were sitting there in Lalita Kund. And Narada Muni appeared. And he told Krishna, he began to sing beautiful songs glorifying Krishna. So many beautiful songs and stutis. And Krishna was very pleased. He said, "Hey Narad, what benediction would you like?" He said, "No, my lord. I'm happy just to sing your glories. I don't want anything. I'm not a businessman that I want some." No, Narad, whatever benediction you like, you take. He said, Nay, I'm just happy to sing your glories. I'm not interested in anything in return. Oh, Narad, there must be some small desire, spiritual desire. Well, actually, this is such a beautiful place. I would like sometime to see you and Lalita Saki sitting in this swing and swinging. So Krishna said, Tatastu. So another time, Lalita Saki and all the Sakis were there with Krishna in Lalita Kund in Nandagaon. And they were waiting for Radharani. Now legend has it, it's not me saying this, I'm just saying that, don't let the ladies get upset with me, but the ladies are always late. Legend has it anyway. So Radharani was doing her makeup, so she was late and everyone was waiting. Just at that time, Narada Muni happened to appear in the sky and he looked down, he saw Krishna sitting there with his beautiful Jhulan and Lalita Saki is there. And Krishna, he saw Narada in the sky and he remembered that he had promised Narada that he would sometimes swing in the swing with the Lalita Saki. So Krishna sat down and he invited Lalita Saki, please come sit with me and we'll swing. Now Lalita Saki, her whole life is just dedicated to making arrangements for Radharani to meet with Krishna. Even in dreams, she doesn't even think of meeting directly with Krishna. Her whole life. This is our Gaudiya philosophy, that we want to meet Radha with Krishna. Just like the common people, they often sing this song, Radhe Radhe Sham Milade. That, Radharani, meet me with Sham. But this is lusty desire. This is not spiritual desire. We want Sham to meet with Radharani and make all the Sakis and Manjaris are making arrangement for Radha and Krishna to meet and enjoy together. So Lalita Saki said, no. Then Krishna, he began to tease all the gopis. Come on, pick her up, put her here. He got all the gopis going somehow or another. So they took Lalita Saki and by force they sat her down on the swing next to Krishna. And they began to swing and sing beautiful songs. Narada Muni was in the sky. He was watching this whole scene. He got his darshan of Radharani and, Lalita Saki and Krishna swinging in the swing at Lalita Kund. So then he left the Jhulan Stan and began headed toward Barsada. And he was singing, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna. He passed by the room where Radharani was putting her makeup. And Radharani was so surprised to see Krishna singing this song like this. And then he said, And Radharani said, Munivar, every day you're taking Thakurji's name and my name. Today, why are you singing like this? And Narada Muni said, oh, you don't know. You think that Lalita Saki is your best friend. Maybe in front of you she is, but behind your back you don't know what goes on. You should immediately go to Lalita Kund in Nandagam and see what's happening there right now. Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna, Lalita Krishna. Narada Muni went off. Then suddenly Radharani, she ran there to Lalita Kund. And when she came, she looked, she saw Lalita Saki laughing and enjoying with Krishna on the swing. Immediately she became furious. She made angry mudra. You know angry mudra? Hands are on the hips and toe is tapping. So then Lalita Saki, she became so frightened. Because Lalita Sakhi, she's the one. She's like the because she's a little bit older than Radharani. She can always she bosses her around, corrects her. Says, don't walk too fast. Yeah, you just ate. Don't be so easy with him. He's a rascal. If Krishna is being too fresh with Radharani, then she pulls Radharani away from him. She's the one who arranges, and then again she makes them up. She's the one. Now she herself is in trouble. Who's going to coach Radharani now? And she's thinking, but I didn't do this. It wasn't by my desire. It just this pastime just happened like this. Now what am I going to do? My Swamini is upset with me. Now how am I going to arrange everything? And Krishna went over to Srimati Radharani and slowly he went down and he began to massage on her feet. And she's saying, go, get away, go, get away. Our relationship is finished. You're not only black on the outside, you're black on the inside, you're black through and through. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Black, you're you. Then Krishna slowly he began to describe that I told you that day about Narada Muni and to never listen to him. And he told how Narada Muni had extracted this benediction and he gave this benediction. Then Radharani became so astonished that Krishna had told her not to listen to this character. So this is a very beautiful jhula right at the entrance to Nandagaon. So that's my stock of Jhulan pastimes. So we'll tell some other pastimes. We'll tell the pastime of the flower girl. One time in Barsana, Radharani was very upset with Krishna for some reason. So she was pouting. So the Sakhis, they were seeing that although she doesn't want to see Krishna, really, within her heart, she really wants to see him. And they're trying to cheer her up in various ways. So then, somehow Krishna was at Prem Sarovar, just down the road from Barsana. It's a very wonderful place called Prem Sarovar. And Lalita Visakha came there and Krishna said, please, you have to do something. I can't live, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't drink. I'm going to give up my life if I don't get the association of Srimati Radhika. So they went back to Srimati Radharani. They tried in so many ways to break her man, but she was very upset. I don't want to have anything to do with this black fellow. So they went back, they told Krishna, it's very difficult, nothing we can do. Then Krishna whispered in their ear, and they all began to laugh. So they returned to Barsana. Suddenly, a Malini appeared with her basket of malas. And she was singing a very sweet song. Oh, who will take my malas? Just by the touch of my malas, all one's cares and anxieties will go far away. Just by the touch of my garlands, all cares and anxieties will go away. And everyone looked down, they saw this beautiful blackish flower girl, Malini. And they called Radharani's attention. Did you hear the song of this Malini? That just by the touch of her garlands, by the touch of her malas, all cares and anxieties will go away. And Radharani looked, and she looked in this basket. She saw these garlands, and she thought, only one person in the whole universe can make garlands so beautiful. Only one person can make garland like this. So she got some doubt. So she said, all right, call this Malini here. So that Malini came, she took one of the garlands and she put the garland on Radharani's neck in such a way that her fingers will touch Srimati Radharani's neck. Hmm? And Radharani, she knows there's no touch in the whole universe like this touch. Only Sri Nandanandan has touched like this. So all the Sakis were enjoying seeing the beautiful garland on Radharani's neck. And Radharani said, we should reward this flower girl. Because she had made such a nice garland. I'm feeling so happy after touching this garland. But she is not dressed very properly. We should take all her old cloth away and give her new cloth. And then all the Sakis, they grabbed that Malini and she began to pull away and said, why are you afraid? We're all women here. If women become undressed before other women, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Come. And she began to pull, and they took off her veil, then they began to open the sari. And that Malini was fighting and fighting and fighting. And finally they opened up the choli, and these big, huge kadamba flowers fell down. And everyone saw that it was actually Krishna himself. And all the Sakis began to dance and clap. How Radharani made such a fool of Krishna like this. We started out this katha today at Dhangar. We should tell about Dhangar. It's just like, because we know that Barsana is incarnation of Lord Brahma. Nandagam is incarnation of Shiva, and Govardhan is incarnation of Vishnu, but Barsana is Brahma Parvat, we call it. Just like when you come all the way up to the top of the stairs, then there's a little temple of Lord Brahma there. He doesn't have many temples, but there's a temple of Lord Brahma there. Brahma Parvat. And just like Lord Brahma has 4 heads, this hill has 4 peaks. So one of those peaks is this Dhangar. So what happened was behind Barsana, there's a place called Unchagam, another little hill. This is a village of Lalita Sakhi. And in Unchagam, there lived a very, 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 very poor Brahmin, just like me. And just like me, he had a very, 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 very beautiful daughter. Now you're all from Bharat. You can understand the meaning. I have to explain for our Western devotees. But this is a big anxiety. To have a very beautiful daughter and be very, very, very poor. He had no dowry. And not like me, he had a wife whose tongue was just like a razor blade, always cutting him and criticizing him. And she was always telling, what kind of Brahman are you? Get some dhan, get some charity, arrange the wedding of your daughter. She's of marriageable age now. One day she said, look, I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to clean. I'm not even going to let you in the house. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. I'm not even going to let you in the house. Until you get some dhan, you get some charity, and you arrange the wedding of your daughter. So she pushed him out the door and locked the door. Then he thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But then he thought, anyway, Krishna, he's Deena Bandhu, he's the friend of the poor. He will certainly help me. And he must be there in Barsana, on the backside of Barsana hill somewhere, with Radharani and the Sakhis. So he came there to that hill known as Dhangar, and there was Krishna and all the Sakhis were there. And he came before Krishna and he began to explain his situation. And Krishna said, Are, now what am I supposed to do? I'm just a cowherd boy with my girlfriends in the forest. I don't have any money with me. All my money is there with Nanda Baba and Nandagam. Nothing I can do. And the Brahman began to cry. Now we know Krishna doesn't like to see the Brahmins unhappy. We sing Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitayacha. He likes to see cows and Brahmins very happy. So Krishna thought for 1 second. He said, actually, I don't have any money with me. But I have one Priya. You know, Priya means dear. And in British English, dear means something very, very expensive. Just like in America, if the petrol price comes up to $4 a gallon, they begin to cry. But I went to England, because they sell it by liters, but if you figure it out, it comes out to about $7.50, $8 a gallon. They say, oh, it is so dear. So dear means a very, very expensive thing. So then Krishna, he took Radharani and he made sankalp and he gave Radharani in charity to that Brahmin. Then that Brahmin really began to cry. Are, first of all, I have one daughter, I can't even get her married. Now you give me a second daughter. Now my wife is going to kill me. And Radharani said, Krishna, you know, not 1 second I can live with. No, I have given charity to Brahman, now I cannot touch. But you know, I cannot live with you for 1 minute, Nandanandan. Huh? He said, no, now I have given charity to Brahman, I cannot touch. And Radharani began to cry. And seeing Radharani crying, then all the Sakhis began to cry. Now Krishna saw everybody's crying. So he began to think what to do. So he told them, all right, you bring one scale. You know, when we like to buy our fruit in Vrindavan like this. But a great big one. And he had Radharani sit on one side of the scale, and he told all the Sakhis, you take all your bangles and necklaces and earrings and toe pins and all your gold and silver and pearl and diamond and ruby and sapphire, and you put it on the opposite side. If sometimes you go to the big temple in Delhi, main Delhi temple, now so many temples in Delhi, but they're in Sant Nagar, the main one, Radha Parthasarthi Mandir. Just behind, in the Prikrama path, there's so many beautiful paintings. When you go behind the deities, so many beautiful paintings done by our Russian artists are there. And directly behind Gornitai, you'll find a picture of this painting. Radharani sitting on one side, and all the gopis putting all their pearls and necklace and diamond and ruby and pearl and everything on the opposite side. Very beautiful painting is there. So in all of that weighed just as much as this body of Srimati Radhika, then Krishna, he gave all that gold and silver and pearl and diamond and ruby to that Brahman. That Brahman, he became very, very happy. He became very, very happy. He immediately grabbed all this wealth, Haribo, 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 and he ran off to Unchagaon to arrange the wedding of his daughter. So that Brahman became very happy, Radharani became very happy, and Srimati Radhika became very happy, and seeing Radhika happy, all the Sakhis became happy. In one stroke, Krishna made everyone very happy. Nectar Devotion describes that one who's clever, he's able to accomplish many things with one work. So Krishna accomplished many things just like that. So this very beautiful place is called Dhangar. There's also a beautiful Jhula there, and somebody has covered it with beautiful colored stone. It's very nice. In fact, one time during the season, because in Barsana they start Jhulan Yatra from the Tej, just like a few days before was Haryali Tej, the third day of the dark half of the, or the bright half of the month of Shravan. So from that day, Jhulan Yatra has been going. So one time, it's described how Tamal Krishna Maharaj came there with all his disciples, and they saw Radha Dhan Bihari, very beautiful deities. Huh? Krishna is a very dark metal, and Radharani is gold and brass metal. Hmm? And they were swinging immediately. Maharaj Tamal Krishna, he turned to all his disciples, said, somebody has to make beautiful outfit for this Dhan Bihari. So we should think like that when we come to Braj, not just we're tourists coming and seeing things, but we come with this attitude of service. It's like Dhan Bihari, they have very beautiful saffron and chandan and everything, beautiful paintings on their faces. So I know one lady, she comes every year to Kartik, she always brings saffron to donate to Radha Dhan Bihari. So we should always think of whatever is our favorite place in Braj, we should think of doing some seva, not just we're just coming and seeing everything. And now this beautiful season is here. The rains are coming. We're getting nice rains in Braj. Everything is very green. We just celebrated Haryali Tej. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, I posted all the pictures. All the altars were completely covered with greenery. It was just made look like forest. You couldn't even see the altars anymore. So now the air is very moist, especially in the afternoon when the breeze comes, becomes very, very nice. So all the temples in Vrindavan, they make these beautiful jhula swings, and they take the deities and they put them on the swing. And everyone comes and gets a chance. Krishna is so merciful. He takes the form of the deity. The deity is not just like some people say idol. But idol, that means imagination. But the form of the Lord is given in the scripture. Others may not know the form of the Lord, but in our Vedic scriptures we get the description of the form of the Lord. And when we make the form of the Lord out of metal or wood or paint or whatever, jewels sometimes, describes the different types of deities. Archa Vigraha we call it. Archa Vigraha. Krishna personally descends into that form. Prabhupada said, you think it is a stone and metal, for you it will always remain stone and metal. But actually it is Krishna. And Krishna is so kind. He's the source of the entire universe. Millions and millions of universes come into existence just by his desire. Still, he takes the form of the deity and puts himself under the protection of the devotee. And devotees make these beautiful arrangements in this beginning of this rainy season for swinging the Lord. And we're able to take the rope and swing that same Supreme Personality Godhead through millions of universes are coming, millions of universes destroyed. We're able to swing that Lord on this swing. And be able to make, just like today, we saw in Krishna Balaram Mandir, beautiful greenery and beautiful arrangements they made. Even we saw not only Lalita Vishakha, who's always there, but 6 other Sakhis were there. We saw all the Asta Sakhis. They put some extra Sakhis all around the Jhula. So this is a very special season. This is special mercy. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada on us. That he's taught us this beautiful science of deity worship, Archa Vigraha, the worshipful form of the Lord. Lord's form is not imagination. Just like some scriptures that said, one should not have graven image. Image means imagination. But the form of the Lord is real, it's described in the scriptures. The great souls, they have seen directly the form of the Lord. We correlate everything, Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Guru has told us the form of the Lord. The Shastra is telling the form of the Lord. The sadhus are telling the form of the Lord. If we make the form like that, and by the authorized process, we call Krishna descends into that form. Not whimsical. Just like in America, the postal box is red, white, and blue. So it's not that I just go out on the street and get a metal box and paint it red, white, and blue. and put my letter inside. It will just sit there, nothing will happen. Because it's not authorized by the post office. But this Archa Vigraha, this is authorized in the scripture. Therefore, when the pure devotee calls the Lord to be present, and then he appears in that. So the same way, that's just a red, white, and blue box, metal box. But if I put my letter in it, it's as if I went directly to the post office. My letter will go to the destination. Huh? The letter will go to the destination because it's authorized by the post office. So when we follow the authorized process given in the scripture and we install the deity comes under our care. Hmm? He's not going to scold us. If we don't make the offering one day, he's not going to come, hey, you bum, what are you doing? Huh? He's puts himself completely under the care of the devotee. Huh? So especially this time of year, we make these wonderful arrangements. The same Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality God, this is all Prabhupada's great mercy upon us. And since we're here in Vrindavan, we're broadcasting to Juhu. I'm just remembering some of the wonderful pastimes I had with Prabhupada there in Juhu. Because in 1974, we had the first organized Mayapur Vrindavan Yatra festival. We all went to Mayapur for 2 weeks, and we came to Vrindavan for 2 weeks. Into that festival, that was at the time, 1974, that's when the police commissioner declared that our Harinam on our Juhu property was a public nuisance. And the building department wouldn't give us the permission to build. So Prabhupada, following the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, he wanted to have Sankirtan protests. So we were all sitting in the airport ready to go all the way back to our different temples, and devotees came, especially Vishnu Swami came. And I was just thinking about that big, long, in those days we didn't just jump from Delhi to Chicago or Delhi to Newark. We used to go from Delhi to Beirut to Athens, Athens to Rome, Rome to Paris, Paris to London, London to New York. It was a big, long, troubling flight. So I wasn't very anxious to get on the plane. And when they had this idea that we get to be the Sankirtan protesters with Srila Prabhupada, couldn't resist. So they got us a train. We all went by train down to Bombay. And Prabhupada made a pandal program. And every night he would, let's say in the mornings, after breakfast, we would go all around the Juhu area doing Harinam. And far from being a public nuisance, we saw everyone immediately would come out on their balconies. They would raise their hands with us and chant with us. Everyone was very happy to see our Sankirtan protest. And then in the evening, they had a pandal on the program and the property. And Prabhupada would give lecture. Of course, it was all in Hindi. We didn't understand, but still we just listened because it was Prabhupada's voice. It was about Krishna. It was spiritual. Then afterward, they make a big plate of fruit, and Prabhupada would distribute prasadam to everybody. And I used to stand right beside the Vyasasan. And Prabhupada had the sweetest, mercifulest smile as he would give out fruit to everybody. All the little children would come first, and Prabhupada the way he would do it, he would touch their hand. They would get the merciful touch of Srila Prabhupada. And he'd give to everyone a little prasad like this. Then in the mornings, and it was so austere, we can't imagine, it was so austere. We were where there used to be a park there, now where we have our heaven on earth, there was a little park there. And they made a big shatai hut. It was just filled with mosquitoes, and we were just sleeping on mats on the floor. There was a little made out of chatai, little square place. There was a big 100-liter barrel of water, and we take our bath like that. all night long the rats would run back and forth on the roof of the chatai hut, and sometimes there'd be holes. They'd fall through. Boom! Ah! Actually, we all go to the temple room. The temporary temple was there on the backside of the property, on the side where the entrance, the car entrance is now. Somewhere near that area, there was this temporary temple, and it had fans, so we would all sleep there. And in the morning, Prabhupada would go to Juhu Beach and walk. And good old Dr. Patel, bless his heart, he would come every time to talk with Prabhupada. And sometimes he would take the Mayavad philosopher's position and try to argue with Prabhupada. Uh, and I can remember one time we were walking on Juhu Beach with Prabhupada and Dr. Patel. And Prabhupada was trying to explain to him. He said, just see, we're walking on the land, not on the sea, or not on the air. You can say it is all atoms, it is all one, but still, it is all atoms. The sand is atoms, the air is atoms, the sea is atoms, but still, we walk on the sand, not on the sea, nor in the air. You can say it is all one, but still, we're not walking in the air, we're walking on the sand. And Patel would give some argument, and Prabhupada said, just like this body. In this body, there's so many holes, eye hole, mouth hole, this ear hole, like that. Still, uh, you can say they're all holes, they're all one. Still, we put our food here. We don't, Prabhupada reached around like this. We don't put our food here. Everybody was laughing. I still remember. So just mentioning Prabhupada and Juhu reminding me of this wonderful pastime. So here we'll put our voice to rest. We thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. This is somehow the new way. We don't travel, we just stay in one place and go all the places by video. So we thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Our warm gratitude to you on behalf of the ISKCON Juhu management and myself for hosting this beautiful session on the Jhulan Yatra pastimes and also sharing us about the beautiful stories of Srila Prabhupada at Hare Krishna land. So we are actually here at Hare Krishna land, and because it's the Jhulan festival, we would just like to take our viewers now in the temple hall to actually view the Jhulan of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, from all of us
Oh,
here. It's a wonderful session, and we hope we can have a lot more kathas and beautiful stories with you in the future. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
बनाओगे आप लोग? क्या नहीं करना है